What's good, everybody, with another edition of Geeks and Critiques with your host, Rainey Anderson, and both of my co hosts.
Nate.
Scott.
And today, the movie we will be talking about, might edit that out, but the movie we will be talking about is Cabin in the
Well,
Woods.
today, nighttime. We're nighttime in this bitch.
It's a nighttime episode. What was it, 12 o'clock?
It's 1.
1 o'clock? It's Friday the 13th, y'all. So, we talk about Cabin in the Woods. Go ahead and give me your first thoughts.
For a horror movie, it wasn't a horror movie to me. It was a legit comedy. It made fun of other horror movies,
Yeah.
Like Scream.
like Scream.
Like Nightmare on Elm Street always made fun of horror movies.
Right.
Really?
Like he's always busting one-liners.
Oh,
and
yeah.
acting like
Yeah.
Deadpool.
the evil version of Deadpool? The complete evil version of Deadpool?
Yeah.
Alright, I know, what is his name that played Thor? He's in this movie.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth is in this, and I can't believe I didn't know that because, I didn't know who Chris Hemsworth was at the time, but I've seen this movie a lot, and it was kind of funny to see him playing that role.
Right, without long hair.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think he's a brunette. Doesn't he have brown hair in this?
Yeah, he got brown hair in this, yep. Mr. Bowles, you got anything to add in?
No, like I said, I really enjoyed the humor more than anything in the movie. The people that were running everything. Just the fact that like we were talking about earlier, how they had the scene with the girls get destroyed essentially by the, what is it, zombie, whatever it's supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's just dancing, drinking, having a good time, not worrying about it.
Yeah, because normally that's the climax of the horror genre, is like the final battle with the last girl and stuff, and seeing her put up a fight,
Yeah.
and they're just going at it on the monitors, and people are like passing stuff around and talking about their weekend plans. I do kind of enjoy the workplace comedy of the backdrop of this movie. So you've got the horror going on, but then also it's contrasted against them keep cutting back to the office where the guys
Right.
are like, bring up lighting in Sector C. Like, that was
Right.
funny.
Yeah, that was dope. Yeah, that whole part with them, like them being the people that make the people, or them being the people that tweak the environment to make people get killed was actually really interesting to me to think. What if that really was happening in all these scary movies? Like, these are the people in the background that are tweaking the lights or putting the hormones in the air because if you have sex and during a horror movie, you usually are the first one to die. So
Right.
yeah, that whole element was dope to me.
Probably the best gag in the movie is the Harbinger giving the warnings of wary and the end of time, and then him getting pissed off that he's on speakerphone, and then pretending to take him off speakerphone, and then him go back to the warnings, and then be like, "Hey, am I still on speakerphone?" And they're just busting out laughing.
Yeah, that part was funny. Also, the all the creatures that, like, all the little trinkets and stuff that they had in the basement of the little, what's the name, was dope because I guess it brings in a different element to all of the different beings and creatures that are in the nighttime stories and stuff like that. That was dope. Like, I mean, if you knew, like, like Hellraiser, we was talking about Hellraiser and how they had like a similar Hellraiser thing,
Yeah, the
type
cube.
thing.
I can't remember what they call the cube.
Yeah.
So they had the sphere on here, and then they had the diary
From
like the Necronomicon from
yeah.
Evil Dead. There were some of them I didn't know, like the girl was getting ready to put on a necklace.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what that was.
Well, there was this movie I saw, and I can't remember what the name of it is. It's not horror, it's macabre, if you know the difference between those. It's a little town where like uh, people were starving and a bunch of gold washed ashore, but it was like really weird gold, and anybody who took some of the gold
Was cursed or something.
like became part fish over time. It was really dark, and the symbol on the necklace kind of looked like that. So I don't know if he was supposed to be corrupted. And see, that would have went along with the merman
Yeah.
thing. Of course, that wasn't what called the merman. The conch would have called the merman. So that was interesting because he gets really close to blowing that conch.
Oh yeah.
And then he's distracted. What else was there? So there was the jewelry box.
Yeah, the jewelry box was weird.
Yeah, we saw her, but I don't know necessarily what that was from.
Yeah.
And then we read the diary, didn't use the sphere, didn't blow the conch.
My favorite part of that was where like the voice was like, "Do it,
Yeah.
do it, read it out loud."
And he's like, no, there's somebody out there.
Yeah, the stoner was like, "Y'all heard that, right?" Everybody else like, "What are you talking about? Stop smoking reefer."
I remember the first time not being too into the Buckners, just being like, oh, this is kind of random. I don't know who the Buckners are supposed to be. But then the second time, really dig in. Mr. Buckner, whoever it is with the bear trap, and he didn't disappoint this time either. Like, it's pretty interesting that, like, no matter where he is,
Yeah,
like, he's still going to get you with
that
that
bear
bear
trap.
trap and then pull you in and stuff. And that just goes back to, like, she's on the dock, like, in the fight of her life, and he's giving her all of it, and she's, like, still alive every time you cut back, and you're like, what is going on there? So that was pretty good. I kind of like the Buckners, and I do like when the girl thinks that she won because she chose zombies.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, but these are zombie rednecks, like people.
Yeah, two different categories, like two different
So
categories. You can get next year.
the Asian girls defeating whatever they were fighting.
Yeah, racism against Japanese is never cool. You hear me, Kim Jong Un?
Also, one of the funny parts that I one of the things that I loved was them staying consistent with the murdering. Like I guess you would say the whore was the one that died first,
Right.
and then you would get the athlete or the jock. He would die next, and then the was it the smart guy was supposed the scholar was supposed to die, and then I guess the jester was the last one to get killed.
No, I think the jester was before the scholar, and that's why he was able to mess with the wiring and prevent the cave from blowing. Was because they thought he was gone, so he had time to fiddle with stuff.
Right.
I didn't catch that before, but this time through, I kind of picked that up a little bit.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Because he goes down and is like, you guys dropped the ball, and they're like, no, somebody messed with the wiring. And he's like, come on, it's not a big deal. And they're like, no, really, someone messed with the wiring. And he's like, how could someone mess with the wire? And then they recall. So I guess that was because the jester's supposed to die pretty early, like right after the jock, but our jester was still alive. I remember not being too fond of the bong stuff and all of the bong humor the first time I saw it. I guess the second time it didn't matter to me as much.
Funny.
This time I didn't hardly notice it, but I just felt like Josh probably likes to smoke weed, and that was the point of that whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I mean, all in all, it was a good movie.
Yeah, I really
liked it,
movie. And I since then I've noticed like the impact it's had on popular culture. I really enjoy because it's a nice touchstone for people if they're talking about horror movies. Like if you're listening to a podcast and they're talking about horror movies, and people are like, "Yeah, the cabin in the woods," it's like who's pulling the strings,
Right?
And stuff. Like that's great because the movie doesn't have to be that good. Although I think it's a pretty good movie. But the movie doesn't have to be that good for it to be useful to people as a touchstone for watching the horror genre.
So
good, yeah, great movie. I liked it.
All right, so what would you guys give it? 1 out of 5.
probably give it a 4, but I'm being generous with like the quality of the movie because I do think it is a good movie. But after seeing the Avengers, I'm a little surprised because I kind of thought Joss was the guy who could do compelling TV and pretty good movies because he did, Alien Resurrection, which is where they clone Sigourney Weaver,
Yeah.
and then they've got all the guy. They've got what Hellboy? What's his name?
Oh,
The guy who plays
yeah, I
Hellboy.
know who you talk about.
Anyways, that was really entertaining, but it was, a different class of movie. I feel like, and Cabin in the Woods is good, but I wouldn't have put it up there with great movie, maybe great horror movie, but not great movie making. And then to see him pull it out for Avengers, and hopefully he's really going to help Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like, now I wonder, should he gave us a better movie in Cabin in the Woods? I really liked a lot of the storyline, but I wonder if he wasn't as committed to it. Another one of my favorite parts, though, is when the jock tries to jump the
that was good.
across the ravine, and
he hits that invisible
hits
wall
the wall and falls down,
and just continues to fall.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you give it? Since it's your first time seeing it,
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Porter. Go with the 4 as well.
you gonna go to 4?
All right, so I got a question. Does them burning down the world, does that give it bonus points or subtract points in the end? They're just like, screw them.
Bonus points for sure.
You think?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing it and thinking that's an odd choice. Like back then, like not knowing if that's what I liked. Now I think I kind of like that better. I don't know how they would have done it any other way. I do like also that it's like the virgin can live or die. Like it doesn't affect the outcome. That's good.
But she just has to die at the very end.
Yeah, everybody else has to die first, and then it doesn't matter what happens with her.
Yeah, 3.5, 4 for me. I guess that's it for this episode. But get right, guys. Stay tuned for all the rest of the stuff for October. Geeks Critiques are coming out every Monday and possibly Tuesday. I don't know how I'm gonna drop it like that, but just be prepared and ready. It's your boy Randy Anderson with the Average
Hold on
Guy.
a second. I've been thinking about how we're doing this, like the three of us together. It'd make more sense if we split up and each took a podcast on different weeks. We could cover more ground that way.
And if you guys didn't understand, it was something in the movie. It was a reference. Yeah, it was a reference to
just a horror trope. Hey, we should all split up.
Cover more ground. Terrible idea.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's your boy Randy Anderson with the Average Guy podcast and Geeks and Critiques. And thanks to both my co-hosts,
Scott.
Nate.
Scott.
Nate.
And we out. Peace.